Alright, this is a Honda 600 sedan hazard switch. And if your Honda 600 sedan doesn't have turn signals or the brake lights don't work, it's usually this. This is the problem. You'll spend forever if you're trying to trace down the wiring in your taillight or in your turn signal switch. The best thing to do is to take this off the car. It's held on with 2 screws. First of all, you have to take off the big red button that goes on here, and then take out the 2 screws that are holding it into the dashboard. And a lot of times this plug here is really hard to get unplugged, but it definitely comes out. And don't forget the one for your that's for the light that's inside right there. So I'll have a breakdown photo of this when it's dismantled, so if you drop something you can see how it goes back together. So what I normally do is you want to peel these off. So the wires will be free from the metal housing. Pry these back. Be careful not to break the phenolic on the back. So you just pry these up. And then very carefully you lift off the cover. And you're going to imagine that it's full of ball bearings and springs and everything's going to fly out and you'll never get it back together, but that's absolutely not true. Alright, so what happens in these is these contacts, oops, forgot where those go now. They go right there. There's one there and there's one there. And there's this piece. So what you'll have to do is go in, clean these contacts, because what happens is the old grease inside of here gums up the switches so that they have bad contact, and your hazards might work, but your other lights won't work. So what you do is you take this all apart, clean everything up, and then put it all back together. And you can put some silicone grease in it, or some dielectric grease if that's what you like to party to. So you just pry these out. This one looks pretty clean actually. This one may not have a problem, but I've taken a lot of them apart, and if they're hard to move before you take them apart, they're probably gummed up with rotten grease. So you just take all these little pieces out. Here's an insulator, so it doesn't touch the spring. There's a spring there. There's going to be a spring under here. Just take all the springs out. The ball bearings are on the bottom. As you can see right here, the ball bearings are right there. So you just take everything out, clean it, put it all back together, and then if you still have a problem with your brake light or turn signal, you know it's not going to be this because you've cleaned it. Alright, so what I use for cleaning stuff like this is lacquer thinner. You could use mineral spirits, aka paint thinner. You'd want to be careful if you melt the plastic though. You definitely don't want to melt the plastic, so lacquer thinner might be too strong on the plastic piece. It's going to be okay on the phenolic stuff. And also you want to check that for See if there's any cracks in it. So all you got to do is get all the old grease off. I like using acid brushes. That's this one here. Acid brush is actually something that it's called an acid brush because it's for plumbers when they're putting the rosin or acid on the thing before they pipe on the pipe before in the solder joint. But I like them for cleaning parts.
And after I do this, I take a 400 or 600 grit sandpaper and I go over the contacts so that they're clean, shiny, make better contact.
You can clean both sides if you want, but you don't have to. So this is off a cartridge roll. It's a round roll of sandpaper, and this one's 600 grit. And I like to use these on ignition points. Use a double it over like that and do that, and it cleans the ignition points. Alright, I'm done cleaning. It's going to work. So, got my favorite grease, super lube. Put this back in the bottom. Turn it around that way. Arch side up. The way it came out. Then put this piece in, the plastic piece. Flat side down. And if you want it to operate really smooth, put some Silk Glide on it. Silk Glide, super lube. Just a dab will do ya. And then put it in the cavity there. You can see it's spring loaded like that. That's how you know it's in the right way. Drop the ball bearing in, any other ball bearing, then the springs. And the other spring. And I gotta take out my glove because I can't feel anything like that. Then the other little spring. And the other spring. And these are already pretty clean. I'm not going to clean these. Alright, so I got it that far. I'm going to put some grease on here. So I'm going to put this back on. So it goes like that. Then you just put it on, hopefully. and everything cooperates. You can find out pretty quick if you hold it together like that and then pull out on this. Alright, so that feels good. So just bend these tabs back over and put the wire back on like that, and then you're done. And the best part is when you don't slip and slice your finger with the screwdriver. Well, it's being a pain. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so that goes back on there. That's your idiot light for your flasher. And then those crimp back on there. Then you're done. Put it back on the car and you should have brake lights and turn signals. If you don't want to do your own, contact me, I'll do one for you. So, hazard switch. Taking the grease, clean the grease out, put new grease in, and then checking your brake lights and all that. Alright, that's it. Alright, so I just remembered this green car I've been working on needs a hazard switch because nothing happens when I turn it on. There's no hazards. There's no turn signals. There's no, I don't know, let's see if there's brake lights. Doubt it. That's how you get your door open when we don't have a door handle. Alright, so good news. I'm going to turn on the flasher, hazard flasher. The right works, but the left doesn't work. Let's see what's in the front. Both the fronts are working.